1,000-yard rusher at that time.
Well, he said you'd never give him the ball.
You talk about the training room in the tub. We learned the backstroke, the butterfly, and everything else during the year.
Second down and long. Away, pressured from behind, gets it away, incomplete. The hit made by Mark Harper on Vance Johnson, who was juggling it at the 45. So 3rd and 15.
A crazy setup developed there. Matthews, 57, a great linebacker, but not a great coverage man, was covering Sewell, one of the best backfield receivers in the league that time, and Sewell really had him beat. So I'm sure Shanahan and Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator, are spotting those kind of things.
24-21, Denver leads. 13:49 left in the 4th quarter, and it's 3rd and 15 for Elway. And offside, Cleveland. Elway a free play going deep. And incomplete to Nattil, and Nattil felt that he was pushed. There was a bump downfield.
But Dick, the agony that must be going through the intestines, or whatever you'd call it, these coaches right now for Cleveland. They're just on the edge of bringing their team out of it, and they're jumping off sides and things of that nature. Just the agony. I remember as a coach what you'd go through.
97, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, 3rd down.
Robert Banks, defensive right end.
Well, Banks is going to move way early. He's so anxious to get there. He'll come across the line a full 2 steps. And obviously he'll be spotted every time.
Bubba Baker warned his teammates about Elway in his count. He said, don't look at the ball and don't listen to Elway. Wait till you see that the ball actually snap before you do anything. Now on 3rd and 10. That's Michael Dean Perry. He can't catch Elway, who now throws it downfield. Complete! What a catch and what a throw! Vance Johnson.
I can't believe it. Elway running full speed left and throwing the ball up to his left. Now this is where he's at his best. But watch him on the run. Now watch how he just flips the ball right up over the top.
Boy, that's the second baseman, a little soft roller throwing to first base, but not into heavy traffic and hitting his man perfectly.
Well, everything's pretty well covered, but when Elway moves, there's a movement by Johnson back to the outside, and they just adjust naturally.
And Minifield couldn't have had better coverage.
No.
First down. Elway throws. This is going to be a pass by Sewell, but he can't get it away. That's that lateral, long lateral to Sewell, and then Sewell trying to throw downfield, but well covered was Jackson downfield.
Well, Sewell really wanted to get that ball off. They've been practicing it all along with a lineman coming out with Sewell. And there's a blitz, by the way, on this play. But with Sewell coming to the outside, he'll have a lineman come out with him. Now he wants to throw a lateral pass, which it is. Now we're looking to throw the ball up, but Baker was right there to the outside reading the play.
I'm not sure that was a lateral. Bill Walsh had it been complete, and had he thrown the ball, it might have been illegal. And the punishment coming from Grayson on the blitz. On 2nd and 12. Down the middle, wide open is Winder. Sammy Winder, all the way, touchdown.
It was an all-out blitz again. They just kept going to it. And Winder breaking to the inside. Just had all the room he wanted to run with the ball. Kyle Kramer was trying to cover him. And Winder coming out of the backfield just made a quick move. There was no one there because if Cleveland were to lose this game, I'm sure that Bud Carson would say, why one too many blitzes? One too many.
David Treadwell adds the extra point. Kyle Kramer was the man trying to cover Winder.
Here's Elway with the ball. he's going to have a lot of heat with people blitzing up inside, but he's got Winder isolated one-on-one, and it's all over.
Minifield misses the tackle. Kramer can't get there, and it's a 10-point lead for Sammy Winder, and we'll return to Mile High Stadium in Denver after these messages from your local station. His receptions was the man who caught what proved to be the winning touchdown 2 years ago in the fumble game. Now a 10-point advantage again for Denver. They led 10-0 at the half. Treadwell, Eric Metcalf. And he fails to get to the 20-yard line. Good coverage by Denver.
They went to the blitz one too many times. You'll see a blitz outside here. Everyone else coming up the field, but Kramer is not in position to handle Winder breaking across the field. So you'll see Kramer sort of faking on the outside like he's going to blitz, but he doesn't have position to cover that pattern, breaking to the inside, and just excellent running after the catch by Winder.
And Bud Carson has not been a happy warrior the last 2 weeks. His defense much too generous. 30 last week, 31 today. Now it's Kozar's turn. Batted incomplete at the line of scrimmage. Simon Fletcher, 73, in front of Kozar.
The offensive line just gave a little bit too much ground, and people telegraphed the throw. At this point, whether the players know it or not, there's a certain fatigue factor that enters into the game. The blitzers don't quite get there. The offensive linemen give a little bit too much ground, and these kinds of things start to happen. Players really unaware of it, but the fatigue factor begins to enter into the game.
12 minutes plus remaining. Kozar, incomplete, another drop. And that's what we mean about Langhorne. He's dropped a couple that seemed to be easy, and he's made a couple of catches that were quite difficult.
Well, the idea of the no huddle that Cleveland went to earlier would appear to be the formula that they need with this much time remaining. Keep Denver in a basic defense, but now Denver's gone in there with the 4 linemen playing all the way for the pass.
3rd down and 10 for Kozar. Down the field, intercepted. Kip Corrington. Kozar flushed under the pressure, throwing off balance and over the head of Langhorne.
Well, a poorly thrown ball. Kozar felt the heat right here. He's looking to his left. Now he looks right, and he sort of lobs the ball up over the top, well out of the reach, and it was Langhorne couldn't come near it.
So 1st down at the 40 on the turnover.
Now here's the running game. Should take effect now.
Winder and the veteran slippery as he moves ahead for 5. Bud Carson, when we talked to him a couple days ago about the keys to the game, he came out very forwardly. He said it's easy. The team that has possession time and turnovers will win the game. That was the formula. Whoever has the ball the most amount of time and takes advantage of turnovers. And so far, he's in the minus pool on both those counts. And it shows on the scoreboard, 10-point lead.
Well, most likely Denver just stay with that run now and use the clock and also get in position to kick a field goal. There's a trap.
Winder, met rudely.
Boy, is it great.
Yard gain.
Dick, is it great to have a Winder on the bench. Here, this fine all-around player with a history with the Broncos, is ready to play, that has that maturity to play championship football. It's great to have him backing up the great young rookie Humphrey.
Well, Humphrey, who has learned from Winder, who, despite the fact they compete for the same spot, has been a great supporter of this young talent. And Winder, of course, a Pro Bowler twice himself, 84 and 86. And, you know, it's the mark of a pro, isn't it, that a veteran like that has kept himself ready. You never know when the moment is going to arise, and he's answered the bell. And there's the last time out in this second half for Elway and the Broncos, as he didn't like the defensive set he was staring at on 3rd and a long 4. Timeout. 10:47 remain in the 4th. And sensational overfield shot. Those flying pictures are provided by Top Shot. Adding to the grand sights here in Denver today. 3rd down. Long 4. The draw again by Elway. And he's got another first down. And he's struggles to the 22. What a weapon he is. He wanted more. Kramer finally got him to the turf.
Elway used the blocking that they use on that shovel pass that was stopped earlier. Elway kept the ball behind the pulling lineman. You'll see him come underneath as a quarterback, carrying the ball with a pulling guard and tackle in front of him.
Could have had more. I thought it was going to be an inside the park homer, and I had to settle for a double. He was a 300 hitters 1 year in the Yankee minor league system at Baines and Union in New York. Winder to the 20. Clay Matthews, 57, and others there for the tackle.
Gibson playing excellent football, isn't he? He's tough inside.
Melvin Bratton doesn't want to go back to the huddle. Meanwhile, the clock runs. 9:39, 9:38 left. After a 10-0 first half, there were 6 touchdowns scored in the next 8 possessions in the 3rd and early 4th quarter. 3 by Denver, 3 by Cleveland. Cleveland scored twice in the final 4:19 of the 3rd period to get back in the game at 24-21. Second down. Winder smacked at the 20.
Well, he's audibling to traps. The Cleveland's getting in a front that's ideally suited for it, but they're just not holding their blocks long enough.
Matthews and Johnson, the linebackers, filling the hole, and now the extra wide receivers come on, and the extra defensive backs counter for Bud Carson.
You'll see a trap coming right here to the outside, the ball carrier coming through, but the penetration inside is just cutting the play off. They've got the ideal front they want. You see the blitzing linebacker, and the whole play stuffed.
Oh, it was Grayson that got there first. David Grayson. 3rd and a short 8. Elway to Johnson, but his momentum carried him out of bounds shy of a first down at about the 17, so only 3 yards on the play. Mark Harper on the coverage.
Dick, Elway was hit flush as he threw that football. You can see the pain and the anguish coming with him right here. He has a man on his backside. I can't identify him yet. There it is, right there. What a shot. It's just like getting run into by a moving automobile. Wow.
So Treadwell will try to give the Broncos a 13-point lead. 34-yard attempt. Kubiak to hold. That's why he's going to the Pro Bowl inside the 40, almost automatic. 34-21 Denver. Now the Kip Corrington interception leads to 3 more for the Broncos.
Well, Metcalf's going to get another chance to return a kickoff. On a couple of them, he's been close. So what they need now is a big kickoff return to get field position to try to get in the end zone quickly. That's easy to say, isn't it, Dick?
Well, if they can score 2 touchdowns in a little over 4 minutes, that seems like a lot of time. 8:22 left.
Well, it all comes down to 8 minutes. All these months of work and sacrifice and commitment on the part of the players and the coaches, ownership. Here it is.
Is that what you said to yourself on the sidelines when you were the 49ers? You said, gee, it's the coaches and the fans and the players and the coaches. Is that the kind of stuff you were thinking about?
No, but I knew the guys upstairs were saying it. So I figured someday I'll get a chance to be very philosophical in the last waning minutes of a game.
Have you come a long way since London in August? Metcalf won't return this one. Mike Oliphant, number 33, told him to stay in there. So we've had 10 drives in the second half. with 7 scores, 6 touchdowns and a field goal, and now it's Kozar's turn. A touchdown would give the Browns, or get the Browns, within 6.
Just going to have to get up the field.
From downtown Denver into the stadium, Mile High McNichols Arena, the basketball arena to the left. I'll bet they can hear the noise downtown.
Can you feel the vibration? Gee.
With the fans chanting Bernie, Bernie, Bernie does, and Slaughter gets 9 on the throw.
Just get going, Webster. Get back get back to the line of scrimmage. There's no use talking to the opposition now. Just play.
Here they go to the no-huddle offense, which worked so effectively at the end of the 3rd quarter.
So they're not using a snap count. When Kozar lifts his leg, that tells the center to snap on his own count.
And 2nd and 1. Brennan with another juggling catch. Oh, what a magician, and now a flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Brennan making the remarkable touchdown catch, but that one will be called back for holding. So the penalty flags have been a bit unkind to the Browns. Not that they haven't deserved them.
It is so tough because that's the variable. When the fouls are called, the infractions are called, it just can devastate a team, and officials are there to monitor the game and direct it.
Early defense, number 68, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 2nd down.
Ted Banker, the former Kansas City Chief, a Plan B acquisition. That's 55 yards against Cleveland, 5 yards against Denver today. So instead of a 1st down, it's 2nd and 11. What a catch by Langhorne. I guess the key to Langhorne, you just got to put him with 3 men on him, smacking him around, and he just pulls it in. 13 yards and a 1st down at the 32.
Well, that was a great comeback. Pressure play all the way. Pressure play, because that was the ball game.
With 7 minutes to go, and Cleveland down by 13. Kozar incomplete, intercepted. Dennis Smith at the 45. Running back, he's running out of gas. He's down at the 47-yard line, but Dennis Smith, 3-time Pro Bowler from Southern California, and that may be the fatal blow for Cleveland.
Ted Banker is down and looks seriously injured.
Look at Smith. He was running out of fuel.
Again, a ball took off on Bernie Kozar. Smith was just there, sort of protecting the field. The ball goes over everyone's head and just careens into Smith.
Now the Broncos, with a 13-point lead, have the ball in Cleveland territory again. Goes in command, 34-21 with just 6:50 left. Kozar can only hope now the Denver offense sputters and the Browns come up with a big play. Winder slipping outside and to the 45, a gain of 3. David Grayson, the tackler.
An incomplete pass or driving that ball carrier out of bounds is critical if it can somehow be done to stop the clock, because every play that Denver runs now is good for at least 40 seconds on the clock, and that's going to be the way they'll win the game. Just run it out and use the clock.
But Carson has 3 timeouts left, but he'd like to save them for when he has the ball. Bratton, who fumbled, unlikely to get the ball. It's going to be Winder's game here in the final minutes. Behind Bratton's block, he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Bubba Baker. Spend a timeout here. What do you think, Bill?
No, he's got 13 points. He's got to pick up, so he just can't call him yet. So Elway will use the entire clock. And if he throws the ball, which they did earlier, Dick, I believe it was the Raider game, Elway threw a couple of times, remember? When he had a lead and the Raiders got the ball back and could have run it. So I'm sure this time now he'll use that clock. And don't concern yourself with the score. He'll punt the ball down to the, obviously, the goal line if they can. But they don't want to stop the clock. Oh, he's in the shotgun.
With Sewell in there, it's likely he'll get the ball. And he does. And look at that. To the 32 and a first down. The Browns could ill afford that play.
That was a beautifully blocked play. You'll see guard and tackle pulling. A great job by Wydell and Lanier pulling up the field, and then still cutting back behind the blocks. Very well done. And of course, Cleveland had to play for the pass with that shotgun formation.
They don't use him on the rush often, but he averages over 6 yards a carry to Sewell, and he had the best average per catch of any running back in the league this year, 16.6 per reception.
Another trap. Baker beats the trapper. Wydell tried to trap him. Baker came right around and made the stop.
4:30 on the clock. And this must be painful for Bud Carson and Art Modell and the Cleveland fans, so hungry for that chance to go to the big party, as Ozzie Newsome called it. That's the one thing left in a great career. And for this man, too, incredible. 29 years with one of the most successful franchises. And Ozzie Newsome, who has been a great Cleveland Brown player for 12 seasons. And neither man has had that Super Bowl thrill.
You know, Dick, this is likely to be Ozzie Newsome's last game.
Winder hit hard by Mike Johnson, but hangs on to the ball. Ozzie Newsome hinted that with his great allegiance to his alma mater, the University of Alabama, and with Gene Stallings getting the job there, that perhaps a call would come. We suspect it already has arrived, asking Newsome to come back and coach. And even though he's welcomed by Art Modell to stay in the organization in the front office, and as Art told us, the door will always be open, Modell, we put it to him blankly, said, I would never stop Ozzie from going back to Bama. And I sense that's where we're going to hear from Ozzie next.
Well, he calls Bama family. You can see how tightly structured they are and how much they care for each other.
Here's Elway looking to throw and has a man wide open. Mobley goes out of bounds with a first down at the 16, and now they can seriously start to celebrate in Denver.
Well, Bubba Baker was out there with John. The two of them sort of vying with each other. You see him out there. He just can't keep up with John. He's played the entire game defensively and is weary and just couldn't stay with John, or he could have made the play.
And how prophetic that pass for Elway. As Bud Carson said, we've got to keep Elway in the pocket. We have to contain him. He's so dangerous throwing on the run. And the big play again that'll lead up more time. 3:04, and Winder hitting the backfield as charging through is Felix Wright. And now with those 3 timeouts, will they use one here?
They should call him now, Dick. It's the only hope they have. They've got to get the clock stopped, or they'll just run right out of time.
Well, they don't want to use the time.
See, he wants a timeout. Bud does, and they're not looking.
20 seconds on the 45-second clock. 2:28 now on the game clock. Elway wisely using every second, and now it's to Winder down at the 18-yard line, and Bud Carson is 5 yards on the field to let him know he wants a timeout here, and the clock is stopped with 2:10, and they'll have a 2-minute timeout as well.
Well, excellent play calling by the coaches. They're trapping.
Hand is a football, almost begging, hoping that he'll have a chance to use one before this game is beyond his reach. But at this point, it'll take a absolute miracle. 13-point Denver lead. The Broncos have the ball. 3rd down and 3 at the 17-yard line. 3rd down and 13 with 2:10 to go. Elway to Sewell. Minifield trips him up, and he goes out of bounds. Oh my, that is a break for Cleveland, although it really only saved 3 seconds because the 2-minute timeout is coming up after the 3 ticks on the clock. Here comes Treadwell, who will take us the 2-minute mark with a field goal that might well put this game away. More than a 2-touchdown lead the Broncos should be on their way to New Orleans.
Well, they'll be better this time than the last. I'm sure of that. You have a better team. This Bronco team's much more physical than the previous Super Bowl teams they've had. So I think they'll stand up better against the NFC this time around.
Treadwell from 31 yards. Has made his way to the sidelines. His team is 2 minutes away from another Super Bowl chance. 2 weeks away, and the Denver fans know how to get to New Orleans. They've had 3 chances, 2 times in the last 3 years, and yet to win the Super Bowl trophy. Treadwell lines it low again. Metcalf. Oh. Going to take it out. Didn't have to. And has dropped at the 10-yard line. But there have been talk here in Denver. Some writers, feature writers, have suggested that Elway and the Broncos shouldn't win today because it was so destructive, their defeats in the 2 Super Bowls where they were bombed out by the Giants and the Redskins, and it hurt the whole image of the city, the pride of the city. Well, here's Dan Reeves' answer to those people who said don't win today.
Well, Dick, I bet you can count on one hand the people that really bought that song and dance about Denver shouldn't go to the Super Bowl because it might be disappointing. They've got great fans here, and they believe in their team.
Pat Bowlen had the answer. Well, those people are not fans who think that. Down goes Kosar at the 1-yard line. Andre Townsend on his back.
These are agonizing moments for Cleveland and their fans. Oh, I know how you feel, Bud. But Bud's done an excellent job, Dick. Bud Carson. And Art Modell's got a team that can come back. They've got to tighten up certain features of their offense. And they'll be back. But boy, is this tough.
Out of his own end zone, Mack. Little draw out to the 12-yard line, fumbled after he was down. Well, for Modell, Art Modell, 29 years and such a prominent member of the old guard in the National Football League, the wound has to be deeper and deeper. He came into this league when football was the business. There wasn't all that big money from television, outside revenues. Kevin Mack fumbles the ball as he carries to the 18-yard line. Didn't get out of bounds, so the clock runs 52 and 51.
You know, Art Modell feels badly, disappointed, I'm sure not discouraged, but Paul, he has to be reminded how much people really respect him in the National Football League. They're not equating his greatness to a Super Bowl. They know he's had great teams, and they know he's been extremely competitive.
Cozart runs into Simon Fletcher with 28 seconds. And meanwhile, a Denver Bronco team, a team that was beaten, thrashed 4 times last year, embarrassed as they went 8-8. So the major changes were made. Patrick Bowlen says get players. Dan Reeves had the courage to fire a long-time assistant, Joe Collier. Veterans like Mike Harden were cut away, and this team rebuilt and is on its way to the Super Bowl. And indeed, if you would have said those words back in the summer, you would have gotten long price money. They were not favorites by any means.
Well, they'd never just demonstrated they're real big, tough athlete. They've never had that, so they've done it on guile and almost mirrors and Elway. Well, now they've got the strength. They've got the power on defense. Their offensive line, although young, is big and strong. So they're going to be a very viable competitor in New Orleans.
We hope you'll stay with us for the post game. We'll have the presentation of the Lamar Hunt Trophy. We'll get the reaction of these Broncos and hopefully the Browns as well. And John Elway, what a game. Bernie Kosar, players around the league have such admiration for Cozart, but when you talk about a winning quarterback, a guy that if you just had one game and you wanted him to be in there, Elway has shown again today why he has such high regard. And with the first down, the Broncos kneel it. Elway, obviously the game's most valuable player, has the final call. He looks for those he respects. He and Cozart are fairly close friends, golfing buddies. The final seconds tick away and all the hopes of Cleveland. And the Browns fans can now only watch the Broncos celebrate another